Hello, hello. This is the guest posting and niche edits for Shopify video. On this video, I'm going to go through the Gamma document, be teaching you guys how to do guest posts for your Shopify brand, how to do niche edits. And this is going to be a pretty detailed video, so it's going to be long. So, yeah, if you need to take a break, take a break. But at least you know that all the info you need to get started here, all the info you need to build guest posts, which is like the bread and butter of backlinks. At least you know that all that info is here. All right, so let's get started. It's me, Chris. You guys know Miko. Okay, okay. What is guest posting? So guest posting, also known as guest blogging, is the strategy of writing and publishing a blog post on another company's website. So on that blog post, it's understood that there will be a link back to your site, right? So um, this is a diagram of it. Uh, this is your brand site right here. Um, and these are the other websites that we would then reach out to and have a guest post in. And in that guest post, you'll be linking to a page of your brand site, right? A page or the domain. So it's one of the many ways you can build links. But for us, this is the bread and butter for for the off page aspect of your SEO campaign, right? So I think it's a good skill to have. Um, it's a good skill to have to know how to do yourself, or make sure you have a good set of suppliers helping you out with this. So why is this important? Why is guest posting important? Well, because it has a lot of benefits, right? So ranking signals is the main benefit. Backlinks give good signals, right? Links are still the number one factor for most search engines, and all factors being held equal, the web pages with high quality backlinks are usually the ones that perform better, right? Google checks out the backlinks pointing to your site to figure out where to rank you. So the better the quality of sites that are linking to you, then the better signals you're giving Google and other search engines. So it's like a vote of confidence, right? And we covered this a bit in the link building overview, but it's worth saying it again. Um, if your site is valuable, then you'll be linked to. That's the reasoning behind this. So we want to get people to link to us. All right. So, but why guest posts specifically? Well, so there's a lot more control in guest posts. Um, Number one, the content. So in the guest post, in the post in the other site, you get to decide the topic and scope. So obviously, you can make it about a specific. You can make it about your brand, or you can make it about your topic. You can make it about a specific page in your site. For example, if you're a curtain brand, you can make the guest post about how to design curtains, or how to choose what curtains you should have in your room to still allow the light in and things like that, which will obviously be very relevant to a few of your collection pages, right? You get control over the anchor text. You can choose where the link will be and specify the anchor text to make sure it aligns with your SEO targets, right? So this allows you to really drill down on sending a certain signal. For example, if you're going to link to a collection page on sheer curtains, then the anchor text should be appropriate to that, and you have control over that here. And the target URL, basically where the link is going to direct to, you have control over that if you're making the guest post, right? As compared to other link building strategies and techniques where you don't have as much control here. All right, the ease of link building. Um, it's not super easy, but it is something that is relatively easy to compared to other ways to build backlinks, right? It's one of the most, yeah, here's a good word. It's one of the more straightforward methods to secure backlinks. So it's a good staple to have. It's something you should have in your off-page strategy. Other good reasons are referral traffic. It's another door for different visitors to find you, especially if the website you're putting your guest post in already has traffic. You also build relationships both with suppliers and with other sites, right? So which is always helpful in any business, right? Um, yeah. Sometimes the best part of guest posting is the friends we make along the way. Are the friends we make along the way. Um, yeah, just trying to make this entertaining for you guys, teaching you guys about backlinks and also having a little fun. So brand awareness is obviously another benefit. Every link out there is a chance to introduce someone to your brand. So this is a way to get your brand around out. This is a way to get your brand out all around the internet. All right. So how do we do it? How do we do guest post link building? We know that it's important. We know why we need it. We know why it's a good staple to have. So how are we going to do guest post link building? All right. First, we have to target. Okay. The first step is targeting, choosing the right targets for your links. And a good rule of thumb is for the first 3 months, 50 to 75 of your links should point to your main domain, right? And the rest, so the 25 to 50%, should target your low hanging fruit pages. So these are collection pages that are close to ranking in the top three that can quickly start generating revenue. And that's what we want, right? Why else are we doing SEO except to bring more traffic to our brand and bring more revenue? Um, so this is a good rule of thumb we follow. Obviously depends on how old or new your brand is, if it already has been doing some backlink building, but this is a good focus. And then after a few months, you'll want to tweak your strategy based on your competition and based on your results. The point here is you want to make sure there's enough links to your domain. It will, you have to juice the root basically. Make sure there's enough links to your domain, and then later on you can focus more on the other pages after. All right. Yeah, we mean business here. All right. Wait, how do I find the lowest hanging fruit? Okay, easy. Well, you're gonna need some tools. Okay. So there's a quick note here about using SEMrush. So, and the instruction here is on how to use SEMrush. There's other tools out there, Ahrefs. But the instructions we give here is for SEMrush, and it's easily translatable into Ahrefs if you know your way around a little bit. But yeah, you do need SEO tools to do SEO. All right, so let's assume you have SEMrush as your tool. What you're going to do is you go to SEMrush's organic research tool and filter to positions 4 to 10. All right, and so the result is it's the pages that you have that are ranking 4 to 10. Okay, so this is the low hanging fruit. It means that they're in the first page already, but they're not on top three yet, right? And when there's low hanging fruit from a tree, you pick those fruits first. Makes sense, right? So from here, you pick about 3 to 5, depending on your monthly link building budget, and save them in your notes somewhere. And these will be the pages you'll be targeting for the month, along with your domain, of course, like we said in the previous slide. Step 2, prospect for sites or blogs that you want to link to your targets. So, to put it simply, we search the World Wide Web for sites that you want links from. So they should be topically relevant, they should have high quality metrics, and they should not be spammy. So to um, we'll dive into that in the later slides. So where do we find them? Um, so yeah, this is one of the most important parts, right? Prospecting, basically prospecting for those sites who you want to link to you, right? It's good to have a good process. So I'm going to show you the process we use, because it's been really good for us, right? Prospecting strategy. So competitors' backlinks. This is always helpful. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So your SEO competitors are ranking for keywords that you want to. So checking their backlink profile is a really good thing to do. It's a great first step, right? So, but first you need to determine your SEO competition, right? And note that competition isn't always the same as SEO competition. SEO competition are the brands that are winning on the SERPs that you want to win in. and they may or may not be your direct competition as a brand, right? In other aspects, for example, you can have a brand that's also that also sells curtains, but isn't winning on the SERP that you want to win in. In that case, they're not your SEO competition. Okay, so SEMrush is a keyword overview tool. It helps you check the results of a few of the main keywords you want to rank for. So let's use the example sheer curtains. You scroll down, you'll find the search engine results page, or the SERP, and from there you choose the top ranking sites that may have a backlink profile that you want. So here you'll see that uh, the results include Target, right? Curtain Shop, Half Priced, Drapes, Walmart. So these two are who will pick Curtain Shop and Half Priced Drapes. Um, so I explain why, right? So I didn't include Target, Walmart, or IKEA. So they may have great backlinks, but they're really, really large sites. And if you're going to scrape for their backlinks, you're going to have a lot of sites in your prospect list that may be a waste of time, right? Either they're definitely not going to give you a link, or they're not related because IKEA, Walmart, and Target sell things other than curtains, right? So it's better to target sites closer to your size, more niche brands, and to avoid any brand that's too big. So that's why we picked these two sites. So repeat this process until you have at least 5 domains of your SEO competition, going through the different keywords you want to rank for. Yeah, and you can always go back to this step to do this again and again later on in your SEO campaign. So next, you have the list of your SEO competition. Now it's time to scrape their backlink profile. SEMrush can do this also. So you go into the backlink analytics tool of SEMrush and click the backlinks tab. And after that, so here in this example, we put halfpriceddrapes.com. After that, set up the filters to zero. Set up the filters to zero in on the backlinks that are guest posts. Um, you know, so so these filters are I set up for you guys just to make it simpler. So set up to the follow link. So we only want to reach that give us a follow link and not a no follow link. Um, Links per referring domain, just set it to one so that on the output from SEMrush, it's just going to show one link per domain. Placement content, this is a helpful one. It'll give you the backlinks of halfpriceddrapes.com where the links are in their content. This means that most likely it's a guest post link. So if the link was in their header or in some weird place, it might not have been a guest post, in which case it wouldn't be very useful to reach out to that backlink because they probably won't give you the guest post anyway. And set up platform to be blog, so this will also limit the results. And you can adjust the filters to be broader or more specific depending on how many results you get. Then you export the results. All right, so now you have a prospect list, right? So you can further filter this, right? So this is an important point. Even after reaching out to your prospects, when they reply, you'll get a chance to do a final vet anyway. So this step of further filtering your prospect list can be optional, but the more you filter, then the work you have to do later on can be more efficient, right? So it's an efficiency decision that you have to make for yourself. So here's how we do it though. We filter it further by using bulk analysis. So SEMrush has a bulk analysis tool, and you can input the backlinks you just exported. Set the results to root domain and click compare, and then you have the results, right? So now you have a bunch of data for all the domains that you've scraped from your SEO competitor. Now we can further filter it, and I would filter it to only the domains that have monthly visits more than 1,000, because a site is healthy if it's getting traffic. If it's not getting much traffic, it's probably not liked by Google. So you do not want to have a backlink from a site that is not liked by Google or search engines. So if it has it has some traffic, then you know that okay, this site's probably all right. Got cut there. All right. So you've exported the results from the bulk analysis tool, and now you can do some further filtering. So what I would do is I would filter monthly visits greater. I would filter to just have the domains that have monthly visits greater than 1,000. Why? Because if you don't have any, if a site doesn't have any traffic, it's probably not liked by search engines, right? If it doesn't have any search traffic, then it's not liked by search engines. Makes sense. So if it's getting at least 1,000 traffic, you know that okay, it's getting some traffic. It's probably relatively healthy. Next, I would also, require an authority score of 15 or above. And if your site is bigger, has an authority score or has a backlink profile that's better, you can increase this number to make sure you only get backlinks um, of a higher caliber. And now you have a list of prospects to reach out to. You have the refined prospect list, basically. And you can repeat this process for all the other SEO competitors that you found. All right, so that's why we filter, right? So there's not too many prospects to reach out to. A quick note on other prospecting strategies. You can get creative with it, right? Because the point is just to reach out to all the sites that are relevant to you. Um, so instead of using SEO competition and scraping their backlinks, which is what we did, you can find any site in your niche, right? And do the same. For example, other curtain sites, not necessarily SEO competition, you can scrape them too because if they're curtain sites, they probably have some relevant backlinks behind them, right? So it's just more efficient to start with SEO competitors, but you can then move on to other sites in your niche. Also, you can find any site in a related or relevant niche. For if I had a curtain brand, interior design blogs, maybe mom blogs or family blogs, and include them as well for their backlinks, right? You can reach out to them too, and you can include them. You can scrape their backlinks too, because if they're in a relevant related niche, so their backlinks could be related to you as well. Um, Always remember the key thing here is to stay natural, right? You don't want to get an outdoor blog linking to your curtain brand. At least uh, the way I think of curtain brands, I don't think that's relevant at all. So it should always make sense and feel organic. All right. So and how do we do this? How do we reach out? How do we find those sites? So Google is easy. You search the main keywords and scrape the results. You can also use SEMrush's keyword overview tool. You input the keyword and then click export, and you'll get results in an Excel or CSV file ready for the rest of the process, right? So yeah, you get to see related sites to that certain keyword. So aside from sheer curtains, you could put curtains, you could put interior design, you could put home improvement, things like that. Any related keyword. All right. So now you have a list of domains you want to reach out to, right? You filtered it down. Next is to get the emails or contact details because you're going to reach out to them and you're going to ask them, "Hi, can I do a guest post?" How do we do that? Well, you have to use tools and it'll cost some money. You can do it without tools, and we'll talk about that later. But I would highly recommend snov.io has worked really well for us. It gives really good results, pretty clean list. And hunter.io is also uh, another option I've tried before. It is also pretty good. I know some SEOs use Hunter. We use Snov right now, so I'd recommend that. I'm sure there's more, but just this is what these are the brands that we have experience with. All right. So question: what if we don't want to spend money on prospecting tools? What if we don't want to spend money on finding a domain's contacts? You can do it manually, but it'll take much more time, and I don't think it's um, I don't think it's worth it. because you might not find what you need to find anyway. And these tools really have good databases. What's the plural for databases? But they have a good database, and they have what you need. But anyway, you might not be able to use these tools. Okay, so you simply have to go through each domain and go to their contact details, go through this site yourself, and look at their contact details. And ideally, you find an email of a person and not like a general email like info@domain.com, but actually something like chris@domain.com or john@domain.com. Because if you reach out to real people, then you're not talking to a robot or to a bot, right? Or to someone who will see your email and just put in the trash. So searching each site's social media also is another way, or the social media of the site owners, right? Which you can find on the brand site, on the domain, on the about page, and look for contact details from there. And filling out contact forms on websites and reaching out there, asking about the guest post there is also another option. So some people have done this. Number three is actually something that some people spend time on, and it is pretty much worth it, because the contact forms almost always go to the website owners, and so they'll see it. If you craft a good message, then they could reply. And then also reaching out through the social media profiles and platforms themselves, like, hi, you know um, uh, you know you can talk about their site, and then you can say, are you open to receiving guest posts, right? All right, so you have the details of your prospects, right? You have the domains and you have the details of reaching out. Next is to reach out to them. So here I'm going to teach you how to craft a message that your prospects will want to open and reply to. Send the messages in bulk without getting them into spam folders, and manage your inbox so that you maximize the opportunities to get links. All right. Yeah, we have to really build the best message we can. Okay. In emails, subject lines. All right. Every email starts with a subject line, and the job of the subject is to get the recipient to open the email. Just like you, your prospects get a ton of emails every day. So it needs to be highly relevant to the receiver, and it has to grab their attention. If it grabs their attention and isn't highly relevant, they'll consider it spam, right? Um, but if it's both, then it should work out, right? So yeah. So how do we make it stand out? You can personalize it, right? Including the receiver's name, the subject line, if you can, is really good. Ask questions. Subject lines with questions work well. Pique their curiosity. Um, Example, a question about domain.com. Uh, as a site owner, that would pique your curiosity, right? Or let's say, hi Chris, I have a question about domain.com, or curtains.com. If it was a curtain brand, then that would pique my interest if I owned that brand, right? Being funny also, humor works. It works well for us. So find ways to be funny in the subject line. Works well. Uh, Mix and match. Try a combination of the above for extra impact. So uh, we like to use jokes and find it's effective. So if you can incorporate a joke in the subject and answer it in the message, that could work well. It's been working well with us. You can try it out for your niche, right? Uh, Body. The next part of the email is the body. So the goal is to explain the intention to write content for the site and the type of content that you specialize in, right? Explain that you're willing to pay any publishing fees if necessary, and make it clear that a do follow link is desired. That's the main goal of the body. So publishing fees. So really, we're gonna pay for these links? And the answer is, yeah, most likely you will, right? Some people, very very few people, don't, but I would question that too. Uh, and let's go through that a little bit. Notes on buying links. So it's important to be aware that Google doesn't officially support buying links. They feel that buying links will lead to manipulation, and Google words it this way. Any links that are intended to manipulate rankings in Google search may be considered link spam. Okay, but the thing is, the truth is, so everyone does it, even if some won't admit it. So I would question anyone who says they're not doing it. Um, paid backlinks work really well, provided you're doing it properly and you're not doing anything spammy, right? And by following our recommended link building process, you're building links safely. All right. Uh, just paid backlinks still work and they work really well. Okay. You can see these graphs to prove it. As referring domains increase, so does traffic. It's just, it works. Okay. Um, Next, guest post template. Let's be honest. Some of you may have like forwarded to this part or would skip straight to this slide. And if you use our template, it could work and it could work out okay. But really, if you really take the time to focus on what your niche, what your sites that you're reaching out to could be looking for, and really craft a good message, then you will do better than 70% of people who would just use this template. Okay. If everyone uses this template, it loses its effectiveness. And since this template is here and it's free, everyone will use it. So you have to work it out. You have to make it so it's yours, right? Subject. So quick question, Chris, the body here. So I'm Chris from domain.com and I just wanted to ask blah, 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 right? And so, yeah, this is a good template. It does everything you need to. Notice that it's short. Notice it's straight to the point. And that's what you need to do. Yeah. Use this as you wish. Tweak it to make it uniquely yours and get creative. Yeah, you don't want to be one of the generic guest post templates that are sent around because if you are, then it won't be opened, it won't be replied to. All right, so how do we send the message? Sending the message. To send your guest post, you'll need an email outreach tool. So instantly.ai, highly recommend it. It works really well. Really love it. It's the best in the industry, in our opinion. Stands out from all the competition, but it's up to you. Snove.io, which is a tool that we recommended for getting emails of prospects, also has an email outreach feature. I haven't tried it, but I can vouch for the quality of the emails it can help you find. So maybe that part of their tool is good too. That's another option. Lemlist is another option. I know some people use that, and GMass. Some people use GMass. Um, if you're looking for a quick start, just use Instantly. You can try it out for free, and it isn't free though, by the way. Instantly isn't free, but you can try it out for free. And um, don't spend too much time here. If you don't know what to do, just choose Instantly. It works really well. I've liked it from the start when we switched to it. All right, setting up and sending. Um, Basically, each platform has its own setup, right? And if you chose Instantly, then they have their tutorials. I put a link to it here, and they have really good customer support. Once you sign up, they'll guide you through every step, right? But here's some principles to keep in mind, which should be explained to you anyway when you set up your email sending platforms. So for email volume, start out slow because these are cold email campaigns. These guys haven't, the people reaching out to haven't received any email from you before. So start slow and warm up your emails first. I'll explain what that means later. Well, no, I'll explain it now. It involves sending, you know, uh, a few emails that are designed to be opened, read, and replied to, and you basically increase the volume of those warm-up emails until your sending email is healthy and it has a good reputation, and then it's less likely to be flagged as spam that way, right? So yeah, so warm up your emails and then begin with about 20 cold emails per day from each account and increase little by little after a few weeks. Email accounts per domain, limit the number of email accounts sending. So this will make more sense when you set it up, but each of your emails, for example, chris at domain.com, uh, you can only have so many emails in at domain.com before it starts to get fishy, right? So you're gonna have to, if you're gonna be reaching out a lot, you might have to buy other domains like, uh, for example, domain.com would be like, uh, you know, domainideas.com or things like that, or 607 media would be like 607 mediamarketing.com. So it's you would buy it and set up emails under that. And obviously technical setup, all the platforms should give you what you need here, but just make sure that that's properly configured. There's a bunch of resources for this online. Like I said, instantly just makes that part really, really easy. If some of these terms sound unfamiliar, they'll make a lot of sense once you start setting it up. All right, next is replying and closing the link. ABC, always be closing, right? The point is to secure that link. This is a long process, right? And uh, it's been more than 20 minutes, I think, by now. So, but don't lose the main goal, which is to get that link. Whether it's a free link or paid link, don't lose sight of that. So when you get a positive reply, which is like uh, any question clarifying about it or saying yes, so that's positive. But even any questions clarifying about what you mean or about the guest post, that's a positive reply. What you want to do is want to do final vetting. You do a last check on their site, and I have a checklist here that you can go through. And this ensures the site meets your standards and is truly beneficial to your backlink profile. Check for language, security. I have notes for each of this. Metrics can be checked with these tools like SEMrush or whatever tool you use. Organic traffic, things like that. Some of this we've already filtered out, but it's good to double check. Um, yeah, so go through that checklist for a final vet. Next is negotiation. Once the site passes your final vetting, time to discuss terms. If you're buying a link, I put up some pricing benchmarks. The final, price can vary. Like if a site has if a site's really good, really relevant, has a higher traffic volume, their price might be higher, and maybe it's okay. Maybe you should take it anyway, right? But here are some pricing benchmarks for their AS, which is a value on SEMrush, um, on what they could be charging you, what could be fair. But like I said, case to case, right? If it's a really good site, if it costs a little more, maybe that's okay, right? Yeah, obviously with inflation, these numbers could change too from the time of making this video. Each step is about moving closer to securing that link. All right. Yeah. Okay. So say you came to agreement, came to an agreed price. Now it's time to write the guest post, right? Always focus on quality and engagement. Um, so here's what you keep in mind as you write. So understand your audience, dive into what interests the site's readers. Your post should resonate with them and add to their experience. For example, if it's an interior design blog and you want it to link to your curtain brand, um, you have to understand that the audience is our interior design blog readers, right? So interior designers or people studying interior design, people interested in interior design. So you have to write the guest post with that in mind. Provide unique insights, offer fresh perspectives. Keep it engaging, keep a friendly and approachable tone, right? A well-crafted guest post can do more than just earn you a link. It can establish you as a thought leader in niche. So take your time to get it right. Okay. Um, okay. Title and description. Starting with a clear title and detailed description can make it much easier. So guest posts are usually from between 500 to 1,000 words. So let's say here's an example. So first you have to define your target. So let's say if your target is a page about sheer curtains, like a sheer curtains collection page on curtainshop.com, your title should directly relate to that, right? Um, then you can use AI for ideas. So you can prompt if you want to promote sheer curtains, you might ask for titles here. And then I have a sample AI prompt here. So I have an e-commerce website that sells sheer curtains, and I want to build a link from an interior design blog, right? Blah 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 blah, and then it'll give you ideas. So let's go through that example. So this is the URL that I want to target, and I want to make a title and description, right? And eventually a guest post. So the guest post has to be about sheer curtains and provide value for the audience in the interior design blog. So I use ChatGPT like I suggested here, and we have the following output, right? So it gives the suggested title and the description of the guest post, right? So here's three, right? AI, AI is like you have to wrestle with AI sometimes, right? It doesn't always give you exactly what you want, so you have to refine it. But for example, from these three, I like the choosing sheer curtains for privacy and style, right? So it has the sheer curtains keyword on the title, which is important, and it's related to the interior design blog that this guest post is going to be in. So then proceed to write the guest post. An anchor would be sheer curtains like these, right? And it would link to your collection page. Once you've fine-tuned your title description, then you can write the guest post out, and it'll be much easier since you have that ironed out, right? Okay, so writing the guest post. The following principles when writing a guest post: incorporate the target keyword, ideally near the beginning of the title to maximize SEO impact. Remember that. Adhere to writing best practices, grammar, style, coherence. Um, it's if it should be easily readable by humans, then it'll be easily readable by search engines, right? Use keywords wisely in headings. So if your post includes multiple headings, try to include the keyword where it fits naturally. Um, Always prioritize being natural, right? Yes, if it has a bunch of headings and if the headings have your target keyword, which is sheer curtains, that would be great. But if it's not natural, it's you could that's risky. So let's not do that, right? Keep it natural. Content length, so 600 to 1,200 words, 500 to 1,000, something like that. But 600 to 1,200 words is good. Sorry, I need to edit above. I think it currently says 500 to 1,000 in the earlier slide, but I'll fix that later. So unless of course the host specifies otherwise, so sometimes they'll want you to write a longer article, but they won't have you pay any publishing fees, right? So sometimes they really just want good content, in which case you got to give it to them, right? Because it's going to be a free link if they like it. Okay, anchor placement. So embed your anchor text naturally within the content, in a relevant sentence and closer to the top of the post, right? You don't want it in an awkward spot, an isolated section. And I have some examples here. So there's a good anchor placement, right? It's near the top. It's in a relevant section. Bad would be check out Shirkins here. I mean, it's not horrible. Some sites require that the anchor is only here, especially if you're doing link inserts, which we'll get into later. But this is not as good as this. Okay, right, let's collapse that. So once again, always stay natural. You get caught up in the technical aspects, but um, remember the technical aspects. Remember the things you want for the SEO to be good, but staying natural, it um, has to always be remembered, right? Like aim for seamless integration of SEO elements that enhances and not undermines the quality of your post. So, and I have a link here to a finished guest post for you guys to check out, right? Just as a good example. You can use that and work with AI with that example too, if you like. Uh, Give it as an example to ChatGPT or something. Next, a quick note on choosing anchors. So, huh, so you want to use good anchors. For example, in our example, sending a link or making a link to a sheer curtains collection page. So the anchor, we want to include the word sheer curtains, right? You want to send good signals, but you also don't want to over optimize, right? So you want to balance exact matches and diversity. So an exact match, anchors that are exactly the same as your target keyword. So if the target keyword is sheer curtains, that's the exact match, sheer curtains. If every backlink uses sheer curtains, it might raise red flags with search engines as it appears unnatural. So you can always add, like in my example in the guest post, with sheer curtains like this, or add another word to make it a partial match rather than an exact match. And you can use synonyms. Synonyms of sheer, for example, can be used. Um, and here are the different types of anchor text to use. So exact is like I explained, it's exactly the target keyword. Partial, it includes any word from the keyword, but can also refer to anchors that add to it, like sheer curtains like this. URL is the URL. You can also use this. This is still a good link. Brand, so curtain shop in our example. Topic, topic anchors, so home decor, room curtains, home interior ideas. Those are still okay. Less relevant signals, but still good. Miscellaneous, like click here. Title, which is the title of the of you know of the page you're linking to. So if this was the page you're linking to, you could use this. Or if the page you're linked to is sheer curtains collection page, I guess that would be the example here. Sheer curtains collection page, though that can also be considered a partial, right? And yeah, like images or icons are also links. So you want to diversify your anchors. You want to have mostly partials, right? Very few exacts, maybe on like really good sites that you want to link to, you use one exact, right? But lean mostly on partials, URLs, and miscellaneous, I would say. But to determine the best mix, you analyze the backlink profiles of your top three competitors. That's how you can really be safe. You don't want a black sheep and stick out like a sore thumb. Everyone's using miscellaneous anchors, and you're the only one doing partial anchors. Yeah, you stick out like a sore thumb. Sore thumb. I'm not saying you will get penalized, but better safe than sorry, right? So this analysis will help you understand the effective anchor text ratio to diversify your own anchors appropriately. On the first few months of link building, though, you can be really safe. Yeah, you're still going to be really safe by just using partials first, right? And then you can optimize later on as you start to get to your 6th month, 7th month, right? Then it starts to become a little scary if you're sending the same kind of anchor to that page throughout the year, and your competitors aren't doing the same, right? So you want to mirror a natural backlink profile, basically. All right, final checks. Your guest post is out there. What do you need to check once it's live? Check that it's a do follow link. Make sure the link is contextual, right? It fits in a good sentence. It's not sticking out. Review the post, right? Make sure it's how you made it. If there were changes, make sure you're okay with the changes. And now just repeat this process: crafting, sending guest posts, building links. Um, and before you know it, your backlink profile is gonna be great, and it'll continue to improve your SEO. All right. So what are niche edits or link inserts? So they're similar to guest posts in that it's on other sites and it's linking back to you. But guest posts involve writing new content. Link inserts involve adding a link to an existing page on a host site, right? So if you find a site that's open to guest posting and maybe link inserts, you want to look for existing articles that are relevant to your content on their page, on their site, and then you ask for an insertion, right? So ideally, the page that they already have is not only relevant but also has some traffic, and that would be a really good link if that page of theirs has traffic already. And then yeah, you request, you ask them if you can add that, and most of the time they'll ask for uh, a fee. So pros of link inserts: immediate impact. Since the content is already indexed and ranking, link inserts can pass valuable link juice and boost your SEO more quickly than new guest posts, right? Um, it's aged, right? So it's going to be a more powerful link than a new guest post, which can take time. Efficiency, so it's faster because you're leveraging existing content rather than creating something new. Like I said, best practices: target pages with traffic. Oh yeah, and don't overdo it. Balance link inserts with guest posts too, right? Um, incorporating link inserts into your strategy. So if how do you incorporate this? When you reach out, all you have to do is in the negotiation process, ask about link inserts, right? Or check their site if they have content that you want to have that you want to add a link to your own site, and then negotiate for link inserts. If you don't find anything, then do the guest post. But if you do, yeah, ask if you can just do a link insert instead, right? Yeah, and this should power up your off-page strategy. Putting in link inserts. Link inserts are great, guys. So yeah. All right, and now you're done. You've navigated the basics of targeting, for guest posts and link inserts, you've learned how to find high quality sites that can link to your targets. You've learned about crafting, negotiating, and placing guest posts, and now you know how to build guest posts and link inserts, which will be a great part of any off-page SEO strategy. Um, yeah, so I'd recommend you guys start trying it out now. Keep tweaking and improving as you try things. You can always reach out to Miko or me, or use the community to see how others are doing, and we'll reply. Stick with it, and you're gonna see some serious SEO gains. Um, if you guys don't want to do this yourself, if you guys don't want to do this off-page process yourself, then you can reach out to us. We can do it for you. We offer tailored packages um, dedicated to building strong, effective links. And obviously, our main product is an all done for you program for your Shopify brand. But we also can just take care of your backlinks if you like. So drop an email at Nadine at 607 Media, message us there, or even reach out to us in the community, and we'll reply to you. Right? Okay, so that's a wrap. You know what to do. So it's exciting to start to know how the whole off-page SEO process for Shopify works, right? And now that we covered this, we can move on to the other parts of the course. All right, guys. Well, thank you and congratulations on finishing this part of the course. See you guys around.